How you doing?
Yo, what up, everybody? How we doing today?
Happy Valentine's Day, Tex.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. How we doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right?
I'm doing all right. Look at everybody that's here.
We didn't
Happy
trick y'all.
Valentine's.
Just so y'all know, the chicken lady is putting her kids to bed, and we'll be on just a little bit.
The chicken
Um,
lady will in fact be here.
100%. We just hung out with her this weekend. She's absolutely coming.
Yeah. Should we just talk about this week? We could talk about this weekend while we wait for Chicken Lady.
You know, this weekend was like a really weird weekend in general. Like, you talk about, hey guys, everybody, happy Valentine's
Hi.
Day
Hi,
party.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh,
Um,
people are
uh,
making videos.
Hey everybody, how we doing? I mean, let's just talk like in general, like what kind of happened this weekend, because like this weekend was just like it was strange. So you had the balloon thing, obviously,
Yeah.
followed by UFOs being shot down. And by UFOs, I'm meaning unidentified flying objects. I'm not talking about extraterrestrial stuff, but then you have
But they
three.
can't rule it out. But they can't rule it out.
Then we have train derailments,
Yeah.
3 of them so far that are catastrophic. Now we have an 18-wheeler carrying a ton of chemicals that crashed in Arizona just a little while ago.
What? I didn't even see that one. Was that tonight?
Yeah, just like about an hour ago or so.
What is going on?
So I did learn a little bit of history today too. Did you know that in before we entered into World War II,
Mm-hmm.
do you know what happened?
I mean, could you elaborate? I'm sure a lot of things happened before we entered into World War II.
We shot down UFOs at that time too.
What?
Yes, that was the distraction then to get us into World War II.
Don't you think it's like a little funny that they can't find they can't find any parts?
You can't find any debris. And
No
Canada
debris.
too. Canada says that it's too deep into the woods to go try to find the debris. And this is a matter of national security for
Well, like,
any
what about
country.
the one here? Like it fell into the Huron River. That's not that or Lake here. Like that's not that hard to do, I feel. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like I'll give them Alaska, right? Like I'll give them
Hey, look,
Alaska.
1942 train wreck as well in Cleveland happened around the same time.
I don't want to do war. I just like, can we not do war? Can we
Mind
just
you, like I
war?
think World War II lasts what, 6 or 8 years, something like that. It was almost a decade that World War II lasted.
History always does tend to repeat
History,
itself.
when you don't learn it, you repeat it. And they know that we're dumb. And they're literally repeating the exact same thing they did in World War II. It's just too much. Too much going on. And the weird thing is the news just seems like, shit happened this weekend. Let's move on to the halftime show. Oh, we're just gonna ignore all the UFOs flying around this country.
Like, I mean, I thought it was weird, and like we had talked about this, where I thought it was weird that it was all kind of happening around Super Bowl Sunday, and we all know like how big of a day that is. I mean, if you pay attention to like human trafficking statistics and things like
Yeah.
that. So originally I was like, okay, like, are we just trying to because like in World War II, we also like the balloons was a thing too. Like it wasn't just Pearl Harbor that was hit. Like, and I learned this when I was watching a couple of live streams when the UFO was over Michigan. And it had talked about how they used balloons to hit us back then. Like that was a tactic that they used in World War II.
Yeah, they were bombing balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and I get like everybody's like, oh, the technology now, they don't need to be using balloons. Y'all are dumb. Why would they not use old technology?
Balloons fly under the radar though. Like they're not as like they're not as seen as, some weird drone thing. Like,
Everybody,
look how quickly the UFOs were shot down, and then look how long it took them to shoot down the flipping balloon. They let
right.
that thing go across the entire country.
Just so everybody knows that's joining us, the chicken lady is still joining us. She just had to pick or take her kids down and put them to sleep.
She had to put her baby chicks down to bed.
Yeah. She had put so she'll be back. She'll be on here in a little bit, but just want to let everybody know it wasn't a trick to get y'all here.
No,
The
the
chicken
chicken
lady
lady is
will in
coming.
fact be here. I didn't want people coming in because there's 47 of them. I didn't want people coming in going, this isn't the chicken lady.
Hi, it's me.
Yeah, you are the problem.
I'm the problem. It's me.
It's just like it's strange. It's very strange that like they hold a press conference right when the Super Bowl is starting.
Okay. Put it under your
Hey,
pillow.
Department
Sorry,
of Defense.
we just had a tooth fall out, so we got to put it
Nice.
underneath the pillow for the tooth fairy. Tooth fairy's coming tonight. Hopefully she doesn't get held up by any, balloons or UFOs on her way through.
Right. Well, then
Hopefully
like
the
when
government doesn't shoot her down.
when the balloon was coming through the Department of Defense's press conference was always mind telling to me when they said
She's
when
coming.
they asked, well, are you going to update the public as to where it's at?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not going to. If you want to know, just look up in the sky. What? So you were too scared to shoot it down in the middle of nowhere in Montana because it might hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not worried about it hurting America as a whole, traveling through the country for 3 days before you shot it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. It just makes me uncomfy. The whole thing makes me really uncomfy because I don't understand. And it, like, I hate using the word. I hate using the word distraction. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I hate when people are always like, "Oh, it's a distraction. Oh,
Thank
it's
you,
a
Bill Red.
distraction." They wasted no time.
0 time, but the Chinese balloon.
Right.
Shoot out. Let's wait. It might hurt somebody.
Well, and then China claims that we had one over them.
Well, supposedly China shot down a UFO as well.
But they also said that they had a balloon.
Oh, we're exchanging balloons?
I guess we're exchanging balloons. Like, this is what we're doing now. We're just trolling. But like, wasn't it you that told me that the balloon that they shot down here was made of American parts?
Yes.
So here's my thing, right? So maybe it wasn't a Chinese balloon then. Like, are we doing this?
Who knows? Well, China,
Because like the White House doesn't seem to be worried about it. The department, like, nobody seems to be concerned about this. So I just kind of feel like, then are you doing this to mess with the American people?
But here's the weird thing too. CCP initially came out and said that balloon's not ours. Then they got mad.
I mean, they also said that like COVID wasn't their fault either.
Well, no, so like they said that the balloon wasn't theirs. Okay, right? Like,
right.
If you're gonna claim it, whatever.
Right.
But then when we shot it down, then they said, well, we reserve the right to retaliate at any time. So was it yours? Because if it wasn't yours,
then why do you reserve the right? Right.
What are you retaliating for?
But why was it made out of American parts?
Hey, like, look, I know shit's wild, but like at the end of the day, like that was a good troll job if that was China. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Hey, look, I honestly could see Trump doing something like that. Make a whole like Chinese ship and then send it over. Just to fuck with them. Like, it's a troll job.
I mean, if that was the case, then yes, that was an epic troll because there was nothing attached to it. I don't understand why we don't have debris. I don't understand why
we do for the balloon.
Right, for the balloon we do. But I want to know what these other things are, these unpiloted things.
Right, they can find the balloon in the Atlantic Ocean, but they can't find the damn rocket ship, whatever it was, in Lake Huron.
Rocket ship?
Whatever it was. Like, we don't even know what it was. We don't even have
know what it was.
Idea of other than it was the size of a small car.
Well,
Was the
and I
first
also
one.
I don't like the fact that they were like that when they were bluntly asked,
Explains everything.
about probably when they were bluntly asked, like, can we calm down the American people? Like a lot of people have UFO anxiety, and can you just reassure them that this is not like aliens,
You're not
right?
too late. The chicken lady will be on here in about 5-10
Yep,
minutes.
she'll be in just a little bit. But like
Good
they
point.
literally said, this is what
Solid,
I said.
solid
They
point.
literally said, "We can't rule it out. We're not ruling anything out." But my little conspiracy theory brain is like, Project Bluebeam. Like this was a thing, and we've been talking about this for a long time, for a couple of years, that like if they were going to do something, that a lot of us thought that they were going to fake an alien invasion.
Right. Right.
And here we are, where they're just talking about UFOs so casually, like it's not a big deal. Even when Tucker Carlson started talking about them like a few months ago, they're talking about it so flipping casually. It's just very weird, like how casually they talk about all of it. So I don't know, like it gets my little conspiracy theory brain going.
Same.
Speaking
Same.
of conspiracy theories, though, some people are saying that the egg feed and the egg shortage is a huge conspiracy. And
It's agree.
we had Candace Owens talking about this. Text, do you have the clip, the Candace Owens clip?
I do. Give me a second. I'm trying to pull it up here. Let's go ahead and
So
talk
we're
about.
gonna have you guys watch this, and then we're gonna bring our guest on to have her rebuttal to this.
Yeah, we ready?
Start it right at 6 because she talks about a bunch of stuff.
6:03 is what you told me to
I
do.
told you 6:03. All right.
And I'm right at 6:03. You see
All
that?
right. Good job. Good
I
job.
listen well.
So a young
All right.
woman on TikTok began investigating. She thought it was very strange, right? She lives in the country. She has chickens, and her hens were not laying eggs. How bizarre. This has never happened before. Starts talking to people locally, and it's the same thing. They're saying, yeah, no, they're not laying eggs. And this started around September. And so she starts to do a little bit of investigation, and she starts looking at the feed. Okay, what are we all feeding our chickens? And apparently there's not very many distributors of chicken feed. And she determines that there's two main ones. And actually she discovers that it's just one main one, and it's Purina. Purina is the main owner of the chicken feed that they are all feeding. She goes down and she decides to switch up the feed. She talks to somebody locally who switches the feed, and immediately the chicken begins to start laying eggs again after they were no longer given Purina feed, and were instead given some local chicken feed. Listen to this woman in her own words, because the conspiracy gets even darker from there.
Essentially, right now, nobody's chickens are laying, and there's a big conspiracy going on about it being a chicken feed issue. So I dug into the chicken feed issue. Come to find out, Producer's Pride and Do More Feed from Tractor Supply are both manufactured by Purina, which is owned by Lands of Lakes, which is in a joint venture with the largest egg producer in the United States. I'm sure you're asking yourself, how does this all tie together, right? How does this all tie together? Well, in case it's not just staring you straight in the face, the largest producer of eggs in the United States is in a joint venture with Purina, essentially.
So there you have it. That you would think would be a conflict of interest if you're looking to do a merger or an acquisition, and you're going, hey, I want to feed the chickens, but also I'm the biggest production of eggs in the United States. I want to feed the chickens, all of them, but I also want to sell eggs on the side, my own eggs.
We can cut it
Yeah, it
here.
would make sense at some point that you would say, oh, okay, well, what if I sell this feed and I get all of these chickens to stop laying eggs suddenly? They're still going to feed their chickens with my feed because the chicken's got to eat, right? And they'll just assume that there's something going around. Maybe it's the bird flu is going around, and that's the reason why their hens are not laying. And then while there's a shortage, I'm going to mass produce and mass sell my own eggs. That seems to be what's going on. And then she even, this girl, she's literally me, by the way. This is me. When I do a deep dive and I understand something's weird and something's off, and I start realizing too many kids are sick and have random allergies, and I'm suddenly very interested in Big Pharma and the vaccines, I will dedicate all of my time to looking into who controls and operates what, who is reaping the financial rewards. And that's what she discovered. She began to look at their financial statements. Take a listen.
So I went to CalMain's website and I looked for their financial records. 2022 financial report on Form 10K. Now, before we go into that report, I want you guys to ask yourselves, when did your chickens stop laying?
Hi.
It's the chicken lady. So wait, I do got a question. If you can clarify this real quick with Candace Owens. So if you're Candace Owens, does that mean Candace Owens is you?
I mean, it makes sense.
I've never seen y'all in the same room. And
Fast.
she literally called you her. So
I do
Keely,
things
turn
all
your
the time. that I
phone
don't-
this way. Can you do that, or is it in a stand? If it's in a stand, I don't want to make you do it.
It's okay. Did I turn it right?
no,
Well, no, if you turn it sideways, then you'll fill up the whole box instead of being the way that it is. But if it's in a stand, then you don't need to. It's okay.
I don't think I can turn it.
No, it's okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Tex.
So yeah. What got you down the rabbit hole to start with?
Well, I made a video and I was talking about how I was going to cull my flock because they hadn't laid since September and they turned 2 this next summer. And so I had planned on getting new chickens anyways. And since they weren't laying, I was going to go ahead and just cull the whole flock, eat them, and get a new batch. And I had a ton of people commenting and telling me that, don't kill your chickens. They, hi, wifey. It's the feed. And so then I made a follow-up video, which I later deleted because of this rabbit hole. And I took great offense to people telling me that it was my feed. Because I was like, I give them all kinds of stuff. They don't just get chicken feed. That shouldn't be the problem. And then after I went down this rabbit hole, I was like, you know what? Insert foot and mouth. It could be the feed.
So where are you at? Where are you at right now? Because I know that what you had separated all of them. You were giving one group. Like how did you do this?
So I had a lot of people telling me that it was daylight hours, that my chickens weren't laying because of daylight hours. And I'm just a few minutes shy of the daylight hours that I had in September. So I decided to try to prove it to myself more than anything else that it's not daylight hours. So I split them all up. They're all in the same area. They're getting the same daylight hours. And I gave one group of 4 hens new local milled feed. It's locally milled in San Angelo. And then I gave the other 2 groups the Do More feed, 16% layer pellets. And one of those groups was free ranging so that people couldn't tell me it's because I wasn't free ranging them. And then I had a control group in the coop under the same circumstances they were always in, getting the 16% layer pellets. And then when we had our freeze, they were also getting corn and mealworms to give them a little protein.
What area in Texas are you in?
West
Texas. Okay, somebody had asked.
Yeah, West Texas.
So AFTC keeps commenting that it's vitamin D content in each feed.
It very much could be. My suspicion is a protein deficiency. I have a lady that lives in my neighborhood, and she had posted on Facebook just a few days prior to me going down this rabbit hole that she didn't get any eggs in November or December. And then she changed feeds in January and all of a sudden started getting 3 buckets a day from her 80 hens. So I was like, okay, maybe there is a feed thing here. And that's, really when I went down the rabbit hole. But she has a friend that lives in Colorado, and that lady claims that she had her feed tested. I trust my neighbor. And so but I don't take anything for gospel till I see it for myself. But according to her friend in Colorado who got suspicious of the same thing, took the feed down to a college campus and had it compound tested, and it tested almost 0% protein. So, and she does not want to share it. I've tried to get my hands on that report, and she said she wants nothing to do with this. She does not want to be touching it, but a lot of country folks are that way. They don't want.
So you have actually probably might have narrowed it down for your chickens, at least, that it was probably protein, because when they started laying eggs, what happened?
They started eating the eggs, but when I've had calcium deficiencies, they eat the entire egg. So they eat the whole shell and everything. I'm left with nothing but a few crumbs. These eggs are getting eaten only the inside. They are pecking a hole in it and eating the insides, and I'm coming out and finding damn near a whole shell with just the missing inside. So I believe it to be a protein deficiency because of that as well.
And you've sent now. Yours has been sent out, correct?
Yes, I
So
mailed
it's
it
in
out
the process of
yesterday.
being tested.
It's not in the process yet. She hasn't received it yet. UPS
Okay.
should be dropping it off to her on Thursday. So
I'm so interested to see what comes back, because I remember like
I am
when
too.
this started and me and Tex were like giggling at you, because I'm like,
Yeah.
this girl will not stop about these damn chickens.
Every time you talk to you, it's like the chicken feed.
Like you couldn't, I mean, like she couldn't have a normal conversation. Like she would listen to you, but then like as soon as there was a lull, she's like, all right, so you guys listen. Like I started, and I'm like, is this about the damn chickens again, Keely?
once I get on something, I can't let it go until I know what I want to know about it. UPS won't lose it because they don't know what's in it.
But it's good that you're like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we were giggling about it the first couple weeks that you started going down this, now I'm invested. Like, I need to know, because, like, that's alarming. It's just, that's alarming. If they're messing with the food that we feed our food, the domino effect that's going to have. And then, like, you were also saying, you know, because there's people who are like, no, I feed my chickens Purina brand. But then you had brought up like, well, what's the batch number? Like, is it an older batch from before they started doing this? And somebody else in the comments had said that they have a dog food recall right now, currently.
Well, the dog food is going to be a whole separate thing. The dog food side of things is owned by Purina and Nestle. So 2001, Purina used to be an entire company, and they split off 50-50. Land O'Lakes took Purina Mills, and Nestle took Purina dog food, and cat food and indoor pets and things like that. I'm still looking into that because I think they're connected in some way. I just haven't pieced that together yet.
So do you find that they're eating the entire inside of the egg or just the yolk?
I mean, that's kind of hard to tell because there's going to be splatter, you know, so I can't tell. I can tell there's no yolk left over. What is left in the pen or in the nesting boxes is just clear. So I can't tell if they're just avoiding the clear or if that's just what's getting spilled out, but I can tell they're chasing that yolk.
Rebel says they're connected.
Yeah, there's I was looking down that, but I've been so swamped. Pickle knows it all when it comes to that stuff.
What's been your biggest surprise of all this?
Candace Owens making a video on you.
Dude, I was too stunned to speak when that happened. I was too stunned.
I know you were ready to delete social media because of this.
Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Like, I want to take the videos down.
Take them all down.
It didn't help that Candace Owens used the part where I stuttered. Like, I was like, she used the piece where I stuttered. I think what's been most surprising is that people are so curious about it. Honestly, when I made the post, I kind of thought I'd be especially because I'm so long-winded, and it was a 5-part series. You know how a 5-part series goes. People don't usually pay attention to more than just the first part. I was really surprised to see the amount of people that are as interested in this as I am.
Now, you've gotten some backlash.
Lots of backlash.
From my recalling of any video that you've made, you've never made a direct claim.
No.
You've just kind of questioned things
Hmm.
to the question everything kind of people.
Yeah, I believe that's the right way to do it.
What happened whenever you started questioning things?
Well, one question led to another question, which led to another question. And then it led me to start wanting to study it and test it. And then you have to test your test results. So when I split them all up and had an egg produced within 48 hours, which Hop Farmer, if you're out there in the universe,
Yeah.
they were
Hop Farmer.
yeah, Hop Farmer.
Maybe
They
you should
were
worry about
on-
yourself.
They were on the Palmer's feed for 48 hours, and I staked that claim because that is all they ate for 48 hours. He says I'm manipulating the data because they did have the feed in their pen for 11 days. But what he's not factoring in is I cut the feed. When I first bought it, I expected this study to take a total of like 5 days. But they didn't take to the feed right away. And there was a number of factors. It could have been that because we got the freeze the day after I gave them the new feed. They also got separated. Chickens don't like change like that. It could have been stress. It could have been anything. So it took 5 days and I cut the feed. I was giving them rations of the Do More feed with the Palmer's feed to try to get them onto it. And then by that Friday, they were on it only that with corn and mealworms. And then 48 hours later, I go out there and I find an egg. I don't think that's a coincidence. And then I did the same thing after 48 hours of getting eggs from that group. I decided, okay, let's change the 2 other groups and see if we get an egg. And before it was even 48 hours, it was 30 hours when I went outside to check and I had an egg in each group. And so
now what are you doing? Because now you're going to go back and double check your work, right? Like you're going to put them back on.
Right now, they are all in a coop together and they are all on the Palmer's feed because what I wanted to see was whether or not I would get up to the production level that I should have been getting this whole time, which is reduced daylight hours. Usually you get an egg every other day.
Okay.
I wasn't getting that since middle of September. I haven't been getting that. So as of today, I can say for sure I am getting at least half production because I've been getting 6 eggs for 2 days now out of 13 hens. So at this point, I'm going to keep them on the Palmer's feed for another day. And then I'm going to cut them off the Palmer's feed and put them back on the Do More feed and see if I cut production.
I'm super interested once you do that part. Like, I mean, I already know what's going to happen. I feel like that's, as someone who's talked to you daily during this in extensive conversations about the chickens.
That's all I get to hear about, guys.
But like the thing is that like I don't need any more proof just because like we talk to you on a daily basis. So like we see what you're doing. But like part of me is still like, I still want to see if they stop because
I want to see that for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've proved it to myself and I don't think it is magic, but yet I still don't have the test results for the feed to say for sure that there's something in or not in the feed causing this. Now, I will say this.
You're like the Aaron Brockovich of chickens right now. You're like the chicken Aaron. Your egg. What were we calling you this weekend? Because you didn't like Chicken Lady. It was Egg Jesus. That was one.
Egg Jesus. Yeah.
The chicken whisperer.
And I'll say this. I went and looked at Aaron because I haven't followed Aaron Brockovich. The other day when I told you that people kept saying that Purina was coming for me, and I was like, but what if? And you were like, hey, Aaron Brockovich is still alive. Don't worry about it. Yep. So I was like, I'm going to go over to Twitter and see what she's been up to. I don't like Aaron Brockovich. I'll say that right now. I went through her content. I don't like her. Can I be like the other side of Aaron? No. God, no.
Oh, Aaron Chickovich. I like that.
She's way too woke for me.
Is she? Is she?
Go check out her Twitter. Go check out
her or anything. I just know what she did like for her community, and it was such a big deal because like, and that's it's so important that people realize that like you don't have to be an important person already to like bring attention to something and get a lot of attention for what you're trying to do. Like you were floored when that Candace Owens video came out. I mean, because like somebody had asked you, you know, was it a surprise to you? And like, yes, Bakovich, Keely Bakovich.
But
So
Cockabit,
there are some comments that have been coming through that as soon as they change to either local feed or changed feed in general, that they're started laying again fairly quickly too.
a lot of people are saying there are more people saying that than not. And I've heard that this has caused an uproar in backyard chicken groups across Facebook. That there's arguments on both sides of it. And I was a feed denier, or a feed issue denier, because I understand why you'd think that. You've been feeding this feed for several years. And then there's some people, and at first I thought maybe it was a regional issue. Like maybe people in certain regions are saying, well, I'm feeding this feed and it's not stopping my chickens from laying. But then after hearing from several people and figuring out that it's kind of sporadic where it's happening, I was talking to this lady that is testing my feed for me. And I've had a lot of people, I'd like to go ahead and clarify. I've had a lot of people asking me who is testing the feed, and I cannot say until after it's tested. She works for a state ag chem lab, and they do more feeds on a regular basis, but she doesn't want any of that out there until after it's done and she talks to her higher ups, because if there's a problem, they're going to get involved too.
And we should probably clarify that, like, you're not like new to the chicken game. This isn't just something that like you started in your backyard because it was trendy this year. This is something that you've done for how long now?
My whole life. We've always had chickens, but I didn't really get super interested in chickens until high school. And I was a poultry judger.
Could it be a specific batch?
I don't think so, because there are people feeding Producer's Pride that's having the same issue. So there would be separate batches. Now, I had 2 bags. I have the tags around here somewhere. I had 2 bags. A bag that we had just bought right before all this. I had 2 bags that I just bought right before all this happened. And I checked the tags. They were both from the same batch, same lot number. So I was able to gather enough feed to send out to get it tested. So it shouldn't be any different. She did tell me that after this part is done, they would be willing to test feeds from other areas, but we need to see this one first, since I am saying that this is the feed that my chickens were not laying on. So that'll be a next step after.
We have.
Are you close to making any sort of claim, or are you still investigating?
I'm still investigating. I'm not gonna plant my flag in any claim. I mean, I can tell you where I lean. I know for sure where I lean. I know for myself that it seems to be a feed issue. But I cannot say, and I think this is where a lot of people kind of go wrong, is staking claims without like evidence that would hold up in court. Like, I don't want to stake a claim until I know that I could walk into a courtroom and say, I bought this and this is what's actually in it. So something's going on here. And then it could be further investigated. All I see is motive. And it doesn't even have to be as deep as, they're trying to make our chickens stop laying so that they get more money in their pockets from egg sales. It could just be, we're looking through their financial reports. I could see a motive being that they said that they were having to outsource protein because of the Russia-Ukraine war. They're not getting it from the same sources.
And that was an interesting one that you were telling me about too, but
it could be that they just were cutting corners to save themselves money while all this stuff gets worked out. It could be a lot.
It's never been an issue for you in the past. Have you always used the speed prior to this?
Feed Do More or Producer's Pride. I typically feed Do More, and then I will do the Producer's Pride scratch.
But they're owned by the same company, right?
Yes. Well, not technically. And common misconception. If you guys saw my video where I did the phone recording when I called Purina, a lot of people think that she is saying that they don't feed their own chickens that feed. That's not what she said. Purina produces Tractor Supply's Producer's Pride. So Producer's Pride is a Tractor Supply brand. And Purina manufactures it. And what she is saying is they manufacture it according to Tractor Supply formulation. And then Do More is a exclusive brand for Tractor Supply, but it is also produced by Purina Mills. And I'm saying from where I'm sitting, they had their hands on it, so they were just as capable of cutting nutrients or
Sure.
whatever to make money, and they're probably charging the same price.
Because your brain isn't going like crazy, right? Where like they're putting something in like in
I
what
don't know.
you're kind of leaning more towards, and what I'm leaning more towards is that they've just removed some
Yes,
things to cut corners.
I don't believe that there's a birth control in. I've heard that a lot. There's a birth
Yeah.
control in the feed. Why would they add something to it when a chicken is? It's not that complex, guys. They don't have to add a birth control to it to make them stop laying. They just
Right.
take away the nutrients that's
Well, and why would
necessary.
they add something that A is going to be very obvious, B is going to cost them a ton of money? Like that would cost a
don't-
bunch of money to add in
that
like
would
birth
cost a ton of
control
It
as
would cost
opposed
a
to
lot.
just removing.
Here's Yaya saying that same brand that they've used for the last 10 years, changed it to see if it was the same brand, and it was.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
Well, I was talking to I have a Zoom call tomorrow with the TikTok lawyer that's looking into this. Her name is
Well, but wait, before we say TikTok lawyer, like this is a
He is an
real.
actual lawyer.
on
Yes.
a lawyer on. She's actually
We just
got
got to be clear these days.
She's not a
'cause
janitor.
She's not a
she's
janitor
a
at Purina or anything like that, right? Like,
janitor
No.
for Purina.
No, you can check her out on TikTok. It's Wit Knows It All, I think is her name.
Yeah,
if you go look at my most recent
everyone
video, I
keeps
tagged
sending
her.
me her to send to you. They're like, we know that you're having the chicken lady on tonight. Is send her this, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that that's the account that she's already in
Yes.
contact with.
Yeah. And so she's actually a trademark lawyer, but she's extremely interested in this. And she did talk, there's a video on her page where she did talk about if we got the food analyzed and it was lacking anything less than 16% protein, because that's a guaranteed analysis on their tag. We already have a lawsuit on that grounds because there's a guarantee warranty, I think is what she called it.
sure.
Okay.
So we're waiting on that. I'm going to talk with her tomorrow. She's deeply interested and she's doing her own research. She's gotten a lawyer involved that was involved in a case taking down Monsanto, and a couple of other lawyers that are going to be on that call tomorrow, to just kind of get some information, groundwork on things maybe I need to do, maybe further studies I need to do with my chickens that would hold up in court. She could tell me. I mean, I understand that videos can be manipulated, so I don't know if like having like a constant camera out there to show the laying versus not laying. We're gonna go over some of that kind of stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, even like a trail cam.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have her look into, because I'm hitting a roadblock. I haven't had a whole lot of time, but something she might be interested in looking at. I did find there was a lawsuit filed not too long ago, between a dairy farm, Cantex Dairy Farm here in Texas, and Purina Mills, where they claimed that they had to file bankruptcy because they started feeding Purina Mills feed and their dairy cows quit producing milk.
Whoa.
That was a real court case. What I can't find was the decision in that court case. I found where it was filed, but I can't find where it.
When was
like
it
what?
filed?
Huh?
How long ago was it filed?
I don't know. I have to go back and look. I saved it on my phone. I don't think I saved it on my
Okay.
on
No
my
worries.
note.
'Cause it was
It might be something that's still pending,
right. That's what I was-
or it might be
I think it
something
was
where
several
like
years. I
they
think it was
settled out
several
of
years.
court and kept it off the record. I mean, come on, like we see that crap all the time with stuff where they'll settle for a large amount of money and it winds up, going. She's her baby chicks,
like
baby
human
chicks.
baby chicks.
We'll see.
The thing that, like, talking with Keely quite a few times about this is the thing that like irritates the shit out of me about Americans these days is like she legitimately has not made a claim yet.
Not
about
one.
it.
No,
She
I mean,
just-
really, not even to us, you guys. Like on
No,
the phone,
she
She's
hasn't.
like, I don't want to say that it's this, and she was struggling with it because she was not thinking that this was a thing. She didn't want to be labeled. I mean, even when she started doing it, I remember that she was nervous about putting it on TikTok because she's like, I hate that people are making it political. And because I'm, right leaning, it's a conspiracy theory or it's this. Like, she didn't really want to put it out there, but she's never made a claim to anybody. And the amount of backlash that I've seen her get over this,
It's insane.
even the video that I did for her, just picking on her for getting picked up by Candace Owens, the arguments in my comment section, I was like, y'all, it's not that, like, it is serious, but she's not claiming that it's anything. So what are you attacking? She's just making an observation. That's it. Just an observation. And then she's testing that observation and double testing that observation. This is what we tell people to do. This is critical thinking. This is this is scientific research, so to speak. Like, she's doing all the things.
Nails, makeup, or lip ring. Like that.
That one blew my mind.
That one. I get that one a lot.
Well, Keely,
And
you do
just for the record, with her nails, okay, they're very cheap to put on. She taught me how to do it too. And you don't got to go and get them done yourself.
I break them often enough. I got tired of having to go down and get them fixed every time I break one. And I got tired of having to explain to the little ladies down there that were doing my nails why I was coming in 3 times a week for a busted nail. And so I was like, screw this, I'm going to do it myself.
Hey, there's your next rabbit hole. You can like crash the nail salon industry.
The nail industry.
Every man in America would love you.
Every man.
My husband appreciates the ever living out of her. He came over in. I was like, look, I did him. And he's like, yeah, that whole, and I was like, that whole setup, less than it even cost for you to pay to get him done. And he's like, tell Keely I said, thank you. Ames is like, no.
Yeah. So
I can't do that to Ames.
We'll still go to you, Ames.
You have a lot of comments in here, people saying that they're willing to help you. So you could get
what
yourself
do you need help with?
Well, I would also like to say, because I heard you talking about the hate in the comments, and I didn't want to be labeled a conspiracy theorist.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest things that I have seen in my comment sections is conservatives and liberals actually coming together over this. I've had liberals go, I have never once believed in conspiracy theories, but there's tangible proof here so far. And I would like to say that the easiest, or the thing that I did to kind of stay away from being labeled a conspiracy theorist was I don't want to state claims without, like, I don't want to say that there is this going on, even though I feel it in my bones that that's what's going on. Can't say it until I see it for sure. And so I love that there's a lot of people coming together. I saw it a lot in just one comment section.
But I'd probably,
even the people that hate Candace Owens commented.
Yeah.
I would probably nail you a conspiracy theorist, in all honesty, if you had a claim. Like you were saying, this is what's happening. But you have never said that. So like to label you a conspiracy theorist is,
or she was like fear mongering, which she isn't at all. Like, if anything, you're reassuring people like, hey, it's okay. Try this instead. You're not fear mongering. You're not.
Well, what's there to fearful of? Your chickens aren't getting the right feed. Isn't that a good thing? Like, it's not like you're saying that everybody's going to die. Like, it's just saying,
you know what I mean? There's a lot of like end of days type like preppers out there, which I'm not saying anything against it because, hey, look, I'm probably going to come run into you effers at some point in my life. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
just being that
there we go.
They're batting 1,000. That's facts, though. Like, I mean, in general,
it is. You have to believe in some of them, like this obsession that like the government loves you. Like, stop it. No, they don't.
Right.
And they're gonna cut corners where they can, and they're gonna save money where they can, and they're gonna do these things. But I would never label you a conspiracy theorist with this. No. But I am seeing it like in my comments in the video that I did for you, like, oh yeah, crazy conservative conspiracy theorist girl. And I'm like, she's not even talking about politics. She doesn't even do politics anymore.
Oh no, I left. I'm sorry. I can't handle mostly people on my own side. If we're being just completely freaking honest, I got tired of people like they can't. Well, back then it's gotten much better since I left it. And I think that's what a lot of people needed to do to make it better. because I was waking up every morning and the first thing I'd do is look at Twitter and try to hunt down the next liberal I was going to stitch for that day.
Yep.
And that doesn't get us anywhere. Doesn't get us anywhere.
No, because the
Well-
thing is that like somebody that could be one of your biggest allies in this could end up being a left-leaning human being that sees what you're doing and says, no, this isn't okay.
Well, and I
Some of
think
the things that you would have prevented yourself from being able to do with this by
And
just sticking to that.
And let me just say this too, like those of you that don't think that people from the opposite aisle will reach out to you if you're nice to them and like develop some sort of a friendly relationship with them. I have had some very large left-leaning creators reach out to me to see if I would try to get in touch with some conservative Republican politicians to help them with a certain cause that they are doing, because the Democrats are not responding to them.
Right.
So, like,
But
at
that's
the end,
meeting in the middle, and that's what we talked about. That's how you get work done. Real work done is by meeting in the middle and putting politics completely aside and putting the people. We all preach, right? Especially us right-leaning people. We're always like, we'll talk about it like the last 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
that's in 4 minutes.
It's very important. I forgot what I was saying now. Go ahead.
But it is important because this is how, like, you get help doing and making change. You can't make, like, you can make small change, but you can't make big change if you're not willing to work together with the opposite side. Like, you just can't.
Right.
You can make some small
that's
change
what I
here
was
and there.
saying. It's like for the people, right? Because we always
Right.
preach that we're we the people. That's everybody. So, you know, that's not just people who voted like you. So if you really want it to be for the people, you have to put politics aside and be like, hey, this is happening, and where can we all help each other to where this isn't happening anymore? Like
Right.
Republicans aren't the only ones that are having problems with their eggs. Republicans aren't the only people who need to eat. You know, like we all need to eat.
That lady that was testing the feed, that's what I meant to tell y'all earlier. The lady that's testing the feed gave me actually another theory as to why there are some people that are feeding Do More Feed and getting eggs and some people are not. She's let me know that there are several states, including Texas, that do not have feed regulation.
Oh.
And so if they were going to cut costs and ship feed out to certain areas that wouldn't be regulated, it would make sense why there are some places that have regulations on their feeds. And I'm working on trying to narrow that down. And I'm thinking what I might do is make a video tomorrow or something and just say, if you're using Do More Feed, please comment, working for you and what state you live in, not working.
So Michigan and works for us. Do More Feed, because
I can imagine that Michigan probably does have regulations on their feed, have regulations on everything.
We have regulations on everything.
And if you need a sample and you need us to send it, we will absolutely send it to get it tested too. If you need it for your experiment of what you're doing. Is that kind of the next step though? Is like just kind of waiting on the testing, or are you still doing research, or like what's like the next step?
Well, I don't ever want to stop when there's something I could be doing while I'm waiting. So like the end all be all for me is going to be what that test says.
Okay.
In between though, I am still gonna cut them off of the Palmer's feed and then put them back on the Do More feed now that they're producing, and see if they stop producing.
And you have how many chickens?
13 hens and one mean ass rooster.
And you did controlled experiments, right?
Mhm.
What control experiments did you do?
So I split them up into 3 groups. I had my control group that was in the same setting they've been in, same circumstances, Do More Feed, mealworms and corn. And then I had a group of 5 hens that were out free ranging in the backyard. They were getting daily corn mealworms and then the 16% Do More Feed. And then I had a third group of 4 hens that I switched over to the Palmer's feed, and they produced an egg after 48 hours on the new feed. I waited another 2 days, I believe, after I kept getting eggs from them. They were eating them, but I was still getting them. Still no change from the other 2 groups. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and swap them over and see what we get. I
Mhm.
swapped them over, and 35 hours later, I go outside and there's an egg in each group.
Wow.
And
So
these weren't laying for you at all anymore, right?
no, they had
So
not
you
laid
were
an
getting ready to
egg
be
since
just done and eat them.
yeah, they hadn't laid an egg since middle of September, I think was when I got my last egg. It was at some point in September.
So Keely, you're using like local feed, right? Because this is a new she came in late, but she had asked which feed that you're using that's producing eggs because lots of her friends in Illinois are looking.
Well, I'm using Palmer feed, and it's local milled in San Angelo. And the way that I found that was by calling a couple of local farms around here and asking where they get their feed. That was another thing that was a huge red flag to me. And calling all of these feed stores around here and finding out that they're all Purina owned feed stores.
Mhm.
I have to drive 40 minutes out of town to get anything that's not touched by Purina Mills.
So I guess
I know
Lisa,
the ass is silent. I didn't mean to do that. I noticed it as soon as it came out of my mouth.
um,
I
so
said
I-
Illinois instead of
Oh.
Illinois.
so Lisa, I guess the main thing for your friend would be to go to a local feed
Mhm.
mill that's
Yes.
close to your friend that can get like either a batch or a sample of feed to, test the same kind of deal
Yeah.
in Illinois.
I have encouraged people. If
It's
you
Illinois.
have
The ass is silent.
I know I was.
What's wrong with you?
Mackinac,
Oh Lord. You were so funny that night. You couldn't stop saying it. You're like Mackinac.
I don't know
Mackinac,
why
while you
y'all
were
say
chicken.
Mac and all. That's just not nearly as fun.
Oh man, Pickle was in here when I did that shit.
And she's got it on recording.
I'm done. I'm done now. Great.
Oh man.
I'm sorry.
Well,
No,
you
but-
guys have 8 minutes to talk about nails.
Oh, it's just they're poly gel nails. You can get them on Amazon. You can also look it up on the
I don't know if
YouTubes.
you can see it.
Yep.
Polynail extension gel kit.
They're just little molds that you fill with like poly gel and then you put them underneath like a UV light. You can't see mine that good. And they're not that good because it's my
I
first
don't know
time.
if you can see mine or not either.
But I mean, they look like actual like
They
I
dry
like them.
hard. They
Ames
they
is
go-
like, stop. Now listen, I will say that as nice as they turned out, and I will be using them, I am still going to once in a while treat myself to getting my nails done because it's like a whole vibe.
It
They
is.
like
Well,
rub your hands. They're very nice. Like it's a pampering thing.
What was
But-
that previous comment text? I know you're in San
We're-
Diego. I'm in Big Spring, but can't find anything.
Anything.
Big Spring's not too far, Donna. I would look up L&L Farms. They're in Midland. If you can go there, that's where I've been purchasing from.
Well, Keel, I wonder if like that's something that me and you could do together is start like I can start looking up here at like local areas that people can go and we can kind of try to help get like a map together for other people that are looking for
I
local milk.
had talked to somebody in
Sorry, Butters, we're done.
I had talked to somebody in the comment section about potentially doing that, putting together a website that's got like different states and where you can purchase locally milled something that's not touched by Purina Mills or these big corporations.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, look up, don't put L and L, just put like 2 L's, double L Farms. And you can go out there and they keep all the Palmer's feed on hand. And I'll say it's some of the cleanest feed I've ever seen. You know, that's another weird thing too. I don't know if anybody who's been, I was going to make a video about this, but I guess I'll talk about it here too. When I started talking to my neighbor over here, I told her that I thought it was weird that my chickens were eating so much Do More feed. And when I say so much, like I've got 2 big blue containers for 13 hens. And before like June, I would fill those up every 3 days. But then July and August, I noticed they were eating more. I chalked it up to just being hotter and they were just, sweating it out, need to eat more.
Sure.
Never seen them eat that much. I've never had chickens eat that much. So I'm saying like between those 2, I'm probably feeding, and on the Do More feed, I was feeding like maybe 7 pounds of feed a day for 13 hens. And she was like, what the heck? I go through 5 pounds of feed a day for 80 hens. And so on the Do More feed, they're eating like triple the amount that they should be eating on top of getting scratch and everything else. And since I switched over to the Palmer's feed, back to having to fill those up every 3 days or so.
So
Wow.
you may want to try to get with Donna Campbell because looks like she's having kind of the same problems that maybe you guys can work together. You also have Courtney that is saying that she's willing to help with make calls or whatever y'all need help with or you need help with. You got a lot of support in this comment section of people willing to help you, whether it be calls, whether to help you research, whatever the case may be. We're willing to send feed from our batch if need be to get tested as well so that you guys can have some comparable samples. You have a ton of support.
I appreciate it so much. I really do. I didn't
Even though we totally picked on you for like the first 2 weeks that you started doing this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I think that you're doing an amazing thing and you're dedicated to it and you're not letting it go. And I think that that's amazing. I do.
Thanks.
I think it's
James
incredible.
said she will send feed. Yaya said that they will help. Melissa said that they will help.
Yeah, I think it would be like a really cool thing for us to do is to look around, especially like, you know, if you're from even everybody who's in the chat right now, like if you're whatever state you're from, if you know somewhere that's got locally made feed, shoot me a message, shoot Tex a message, shoot Keely a message, and we can try to get, you know, a map going for you guys to where you can go for other things. Like I also see a lot of comments right now with like lockdowns and like UFOs and like everything's going crazy. And that's why community is so important. And that's why it's also so important to ignore politics right now. Because if everything pops off, who do we have? We only have each other.
Exactly.
That's it. And we have to stay together and we have to work together and we have to try to help each other get through it. And it's the only way. Like, you really want to stick it to the government? That's how you stick it to the government.
Right. Exactly.
And Butter so that he can send from Alabama Tractor Supply and local feeds, send him the details and he can help, he can ship some out too. Like,
I will definitely let you guys know about that. I would like to see, because really what I think needs to happen is once she gets a hold of that feed, I need her to give me a list of the states that don't regulate feed versus the ones that do, so that we can send samples from, because I know I sent samples from an unregulated state. So I would like to get some samples from regulated states and see.
How can they message you? Where's the best place to message you? And then like the second best place. Like you're just like Kat. You're horrible at messages.
I am terrible. I have a lot of Instagram requests right now. That's the best way to reach me is my Instagram inbox. And I'm still getting used to using Instagram because before this, I just was primarily on TikTok just to kind of mess around. But Instagram is the best way to do that. I saw that there's a way that I can open my messages on TikTok to everyone. It gave me that option. But because of the way the notifications work and TikTok, I've missed a ton of messages.
Instagram's easier, especially when they're like message requests. They're just easier to see. It's because TikTok puts them with all of your notifications instead of just giving you message notifications.
Right.
What is your Instagram handle?
It's the same. And if you go on my TikTok, there's a badge. You can click on it. It'll take you to my Instagram.
Okay. And
Hashtag link in bio.
Keely's Coladas. Yeah. Link in bio.
Hashtag, yes, hashtag.
Bio.
Right.
Can we see your shirt? I want to see the shirt that you made for tonight.
I did. It says, "Let's talk chicken shit."
She messaged me. It was like, what color shirt do you think would look good with the background that you made for me? Because I'm going to make a shirt for tonight. I like that shirt.
Chicken shit.
Yes.
Her IG name is the same. It's Keely's Coladas.
Yep. If you go on my TikTok page, there's a badge. You can click on it and just go straight over there.
So with that, Keely, as a guest, you're supposed to send us out with something positive. So,
or motivational or funny.
It doesn't even have to be related to chickens if you don't want. It can if you want.
Oh, well, we're here to talk chicken shit, so I think
true.
maybe it ought to be related to chickens. My best form of advice would be don't feed, do more feed anymore. I don't believe in it, and I don't like that they have their hands in too many things. But honestly, the most motivational thing I could say is question everything and make sure that you do your research. And above all, make sure that whatever research you put out there, if you want people to take you seriously, make sure you're using reputable sources. Because I could make a website and put whatever I want on there, and I guarantee you somebody would quote me from it. Make sure that it's reputable and it's tested and true so that you have grounding to stand on. More people will listen to you if you don't use buzzwords like Bill Gates and Big Pharma and all of those things, and don't make unfounded claims just because you believe that's what's happening. You can believe what you want to believe. Just make sure that you research those beliefs thoroughly so that you have a leg to stand on. Make sure that if you wanted to walk into court, you could say that and you could prove it without saying I found it on Google.
And I'd like to add on too, just from watching Keely go through this, you're going to get haters, you're going to get doubters, but don't let it stop you.
Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
If they're not paying my bills, they can go sit and spend for all I care, because I'm not losing any sleep at night over it. And the best thing that I do for myself to deal with those people is I make it funny. I like doing clapbacks that I think will make those people feel about this small.
Not always, though.
Except for Hop Farmer. Let's not even talk about fucking Hop Farmer.
No, I'm just saying, like, I've also seen you, like, yeah, you do some good clapbacks. You do, but I remember a very specific day where somebody had made a comment that was very rude to you, and you went to their page and you discovered that they were having a really horrible day.
Oh, yeah.
And so in your clapback video, instead of being like your normal snarky self, you talked about, stay out of my colon, because he told you that you were full of shit.
That was a
And
complete
you
act.
made that dude's day, though. You did, and he appreciated it. He even
Yeah.
told people to go follow you.
Yeah. It
So
was
I would
that
say-
was fun. Have
And
fun
so
with it.
sometimes you can catch more flies with honey, and that's something
Play
that
with the tools. Play
we
with
can
them.
all learn from, especially me.
Well, Keely, we definitely appreciate you, and hopefully we'll have you on here again soon with
Mhm.
some results and whatnot, and be able to provide an update.
Absolutely.
And we
Congratulations.
do appreciate you coming on. We know that you've had many opportunities to be on lots of different shows and stuff like that. So we appreciate you
Oh, I appreciate you
coming
guys.
and hanging out with us.
I appreciate you guys having me.
With that said, y'all have a great evening, and we will see y'all Thursday.